Okay. And the Shiur is it's a dedicated chesed to a full shlema of my granddaughter, Yoel Bas Rivka, a full shlema. The operation Metz Hashem Wednesday. Mitzvah Samach Zayin. Mitzvah Asher v'Shivim Hi shetzivonu Shiur Maase HaMincha. So we had already last time we had the Maase Oila, the Maase Chatos, the Maase Oshim, the Maase Shlomim, and we had the Bechor Maase and Pesach included on the Shlomim. And now the Rambam is the final thing, is the and I assume that Oifos are subsumed under the mitzvah of oil and chatos, and there's a new mitzvah of not a behemoth chayin oif, but a vegetable korbanos, and that's the mincha. And there also has a mice as a seder al toya haniska b'min umin mehem. So as I pointed out, the same thing over here that I pointed out last week. The Rambam Shirish Beis, when he's talking about these various mitzvahs, he talks about the various avodas, like the shchita, and he's disagreeing with the bahag. The Toya L'chor over here in his discussion in Minyan HaMitzvos, he's assuming that, and he's just adding that if you might have, when we talk about different behemoths and different oifos and different seder avodah, from pinimis to chitzenios, so that doesn't make a separate mitzvah. In here, you have Maisama, Minchas Mafe, Minchas Macheshes, Minchas Machvas, whatever, and that also doesn't make different mitzvahs. Al Toya, Al Oifen, Aniska, B'min umin mehem. And one would have assumed that this Toya Niska min mehem might not have anything to do with Shirish Beis, but it would be Shirish Zion that we had, that the Maisa of Korban of the Yored is all one mitzvah, even though it changes. Sometimes it's Ashirus, and sometimes it's Dallas and Dallas, and he also sometimes it's Mafetano, sometimes it's this one, sometimes that. But it's all a permutation, an oifan of the same mitzvah, which is the mitzvah of mincha. And the kol min o min might be better, maybe kol sug v'sug is really not, because it's not really minim, it's types of menachos. Interesting is the Rav Sadi Goin in his Minyan HaMitzvos, Sefer HaMitzvos, which was recently published, in the 19th parak, counts each type of mincha as a mitzvah nefredes. And this again is against Shir Shvi, and the Rambam over here is disagreeing. So there are two different disagreements, or two disagreements between the Kadmonim. The disagreement between the Rambam and the Bahag is with the various, the Seder, the various avodas which go up and constitute the oilo, the hefshet, and the tuach, the shchita, are separate mitzvahs, or they're all incorporated into the Ma'aseh. The Bahagik says they're separate mitzvahs, and the Ram says that it's all part of minchas of the Seder or the Ma'aseh. So similarly, in menachos, there's the kamitza, there's the haktorah of the kometz, and so the belila of the shemen. So the question is, maybe they should be separate mitzvahs. The Hag would count them as separate mitzvahs. And there's a different issue. The different types of menachos is the same way that the Avsadi going counts the oilas behema and the oilas and the oilas soin as two separate mitzvahs. Similarly, he counts minchas ma'afetano, minchas ma'achvas, and minchas ma'cheshes as separate mitzvahs. Minchas and other separate. So that's not, it's not profound, but it's important, just to get to understand, what the issues are. For Yis'ale ונפש כי תקריב קרבן מנחה להשם וגוימה ואם מנחה על המחווס. And the Ram doesn't mention anything about this in Shiur Beis because this is basically Shiur Zayin. It's two different types. This is the Toya or the Oifan. The Oma la Shlomis HaMaisa. So the Rambam says that they're basically two parshas of menachos, and the second is to imashlim the dinim of the mincha, as the Ram says. There's sometimes kefal nichpal for chumas hoinyan, and there's sometimes kefal nichpal for ashlomish dinim. And here it's mashlim dinim. They're dinim about the achila or whatever that are mentioned in the parsha of Parshas Sav that are not in Parshas Vayikra. And that's in Perek Vov, from Pasuk Zayin to Yud Aleph. And that is starting from the Pasuk of V'zeis Teres HaMincha. U'mishpatei mitzvah zoi, im reiv inyoneho, v'fi reiv inyoneho, l'kol chilukeho, hogabim, all the various dinim. What does it mean, im reiv inyoneho? The chiluke dinim enochos, which is which we'll see is just to see the most important thing is waving your neho. See the word, there's a misnomer possibly going on there, and you shouldn't confuse yourself, okay? And this is just simple and important, because the Ram says that different inyonim are kaveh different mitzvahs. So if you say loiv in your neho, really the mitzvah mincha should have been 5 or 10, and exactly like Rav Sadi going. Here the loiv in your neho doesn't mean that it's different inyonim. It means, I guess, that there are many dinim. The chilukei dinim. And that certainly would be, that's what the truth is. Tapach, when he translated l'kol chilukei horabim, that means the chilukei dinim. And that l'chei would be best solved, because once you translate it as Ibn Tibin or Ibn Ayov, as im loiv in your neho, lefi loiv in your neho, you're perplexed, because this contradicts, the Ram is contradicting himself, and the mitzvahs are defined by different inyanim. You can't say Lev Inyanel. Then it says, that's both Ibn Tibin and Ibn Ayov, and Kapach is better. HaMiuchedes Lakach, there's a peculiar Mesechta called Menachos, which is its whole thing. What's Alema Meseches Menachos, which is all the Din of Menachos. And all the various Toya, Machvas, Maase, or Machvas, Machesh, all the various, all the various Menachos. Okay. That is the mitzvah of Maase Mincha. Basically, it's the same exact thing as all the Maase Chatos and the Oil Chatos, Oshem, and Shlomim, except here the Dinim and the Oifanim are different because the Chamidchon, and each one has its own Oifan or Toyaf. Next. Now, next mitzvah. HaMitzvah Ashmona B'Shishim Hi shetzivonu she'akrivu bezdin korban kishetov v'horu shelek halocha Roma Yisale v'im kodas Yisrael yishku v'nelem dovo me'enei hakol. Okay. So let's just stop for a second, okay? And just, here. Yeah. Now, which we just read, Parshas Vayikra, so in Parshas Vayikra starts off with a discussion of in the Kol Chatos, starts off with a discussion of the various type of chatos. There's Param Dover Shel Tzibur. I mean, Pa Koy Moshiach, Param Dover Shel Tzibur. Then you have Soy Nosir and Amoritz, and the portion be called the Hedjit. So a priori, working with the klolim of Sherish Zion or Sherish Yudalid, that all basically the various types of kol mechatos for the various averis that's in Sherish Yudalid, or the various types of chatos, whether it's a soyer or whatever, the nosi or the par, is all one mitzvah. So one looking at Parshas Vayikra would have said, and the same way that Par Koy Moshiach and Soy and Nosi is one mitzvah with Chatas Hedyet, Par Helm Dover Shel Tzibur also should be. And the Rambam, just the opposite. He starts off the seder of the korbanos, which are chayvus gavra, not the ma'aseh akrova. He starts off with a separate mitzvah called Pahel Dover Shel Tzibur, and which is in the middle of the parsha of Chatos. So I would have said, no, it's all one mitzvah. And the Rambam says, not like that. Let's see. He shetzivonu she'akriv Kol Misha Shog, that was some test. Ish is Ivonu, Shakrivu, Bestin. So the makrivi akorban are not Klal Yisrael who are chayte, but it's Besdin. Shakrivu Besdin, korban shetou, v'holu shalek halacha. The chiyuv is for the toes and hara, not for the ma'aseh avera. Again, the Ram's very clear. Ish is ivonu sheakrivu Besdin, korban kishetou, v'holu shalek halacha. V'zeu omer yis'ale v'in kol adas Yisrael yishku v'nelem dover me'enei hakol. Ukvar nizbaru mishpatei mitzvah zo v'atnoim shebo atoim shebo the tnoim b'mitzvah al hashlomus al hashlemus meseches hoyos u'mekoimos meseches vochim. And this is and it's a separate mitzvah. When it comes to the kol mechatos, the mitzvah afterwards, samach tes, he shezivon sheyakiv kol mi sheshogag bechet min hachatoim hagedolim hayeduim b'otad ma'aseh avera. Kol mechatos v'om yisale v'im nefesh achas techato b'shgogo me'amoretz v'zohi chatos kavua. It's not korban oil, it doesn't change. It's kavua. It's not nishtan. It doesn't change. Klima shehi li'olam chatos behemo. It doesn't change to oif or mincha like korban oil. Okay. That's what we have. So we have to understand why there's a separate mitzvah of chatos, which includes, the Ram clear, Shir Zayin, that the chatos includes the soy and nosi, and Siri Avodah Zorah, and it also includes the power of the Kohen Moshiach. So for some reason, in the middle of these parshas is something called Param Dover Shel Tzibur, and it's a separate mitzvah. But the Ram L'chera is being meramis to you what the difference is, because there the ma'aseh avera will go through it slowly, but L'chera, without, before you get into anything, there the ma'aseh avera from the from Kores is mechayev. And here, it's Hara B'Tos. Oh, we're going to see that Hara B'Tos, per se, Bezdin makes Hara B'Tos, is not Chai B'Chai Param Dover Shel Tzibur. He says he's going to have to do ma'aseh avera, so. But he doesn't mention the ma'aseh avera of the Tzibur. He mentions the Hara Bezdin. Now, slowly but surely, let's go. This is the first mitzvah of a korban of an oynish. Bezdin over here is an hedron agodol. As the Ram says, mefurish in Hilchos Shkogos, in Perek Yud Beis Halacha Aleph, im shogagu Bezdin agodol behira. Mefurish that you require Bezdin agodol. Sifro, Vayikra, Dibur D'Chayvo, Parashat Dalet Tzei, Perek Hey, Halacha Beis, Talmud Adas Yisrael, Cho'ed HaMiyuchedes, what's Adas Yisrael? Adas Yisrael, Cho'ed HaMiyuchedes Shevi Yisrael, Ve'ezo Zo, Sanhedrin Gedolah. Hayosheves Hagozes, the Fush also tells Kohanim that this is a Godel. The one Hoyos, or the mission Hoyos, Perek Aleph, Mishnah Hey, Vachomoimim, Ein Chayovim Elal Hoyroyas, Bezdin Agodol Bovad, Shenem Ovim, Kol Adas Yisrael, Yishku, V'loi Adas, Oisei HaShevet. So you require Bezdin Agodol. So, what is it? Kusheto, or the different translations of the Rambam? Ibn Tibin is Geto, and Ibn Ayah is Kishiyishku. And Kapo Shkogu, okay. The original Arabic, the Judeo-Arabic of Sahu, Samuch Hey Vav Aleph, and that's what Ibn Tibon translates as told. And the Ram himself says, and in the beginning of Hilchos Koros. But so Ibn Tibon translates it as tohu because that's the mechayv. The mechayv is a tohs. It's not a shkoga in the hira. It's a shoga. It's not a shkoga. It's a shkoga in the hira b'tos, and the mechayv is a b'tos. That's what the Ibn Tibon is stressing. On the other hand, the word really means shkoga, not tos. Well, how do I know that? Because the Ram uses the same verb in the Judeo-Arabic. So who in Mitzvah Samach Tes in Chatus Kavua, and there he means the Ma'aseh Avera clearly, a shkoga in the Ma'aseh Avera. And the Rambam is like at the Rambam in Perek Yud Beis Halacha Aleph. So it's a little confusing, but I'm not sure. It's just the Lamana Emes. You need a Hira b'shkoga, but the Hira is a tos. Because if it's an Emes Hira, that's not a problem. It's a shkoga of tos and Hira. It's really both. Next. The Rambam here only quotes part of the Mechayev and Korban, because not only do you need Tos of Bezdin Agodol, you need also the Goyim Yisrael have to do an Avera as an expression of the fact they're following the Hora of Bezdin Agodol. And l'chera, this is what the Rambam is alluding to at the end of the mitzvah when it says kvar nizbaru mishpatei mitzvah zo v'hatanoim shebo tnai the tanoim shebo al shleimus meseres hoyos. So that's a very important thing. Then l'cheira, the fact that Klal Yisrael follow the Hira and they do the Aveira, that is a T'nai. That's what it seems to say. And the Mechayiv is the Hira b'tos. And this Tanai is that grave Yisrael have to follow Bezdin and violate the Chayvik Krisus B'shegeg as following the Seirah. In the Ram Yudalad, he writes the following: Ukfar Yodato Shemine Hakorban Yischalfu B'Schalif Koavonos Asher Yischayv Aleim Hakorban Ahu Ki Yesh Min Avonos Mash Yischayv Olav Oshem Tolu Umehem Ma Yischayv Aleim Oil Yered Umehem Ma Shachayva Aleim Oshem Vadai. There's some korbanos in Mechayiv and Oshem Vadai. And some korbanos, some Averes are Oshem Tolui, some Oshem Vadai, and some korbanos of Yered. Umehem Chatas Kovua. Ulezel Lo Nimna Chatas Im Oshem. Avol Nimna Chiyuv. Chatas Kovua Mitzvah. V'chiyuv Oshem Vadai Mitzvah. V'chiyuv Oshem Tolui Mitzvah. Each one is separate. V'chiyuv Korban Oil V'Yered Mitzvah. Hein She'Yischayev HaKorban Hahu L'mi She'Yischayev. Doesn't make a difference who's chayev it. That Korban is a separate mitzvah. There's a Korban Oil V'Yered, a Korban Chatas Kovua, a Korban Oshem Vadai, and a Korban Oshem Tolui. Now, all chatois, all the shar chatois in the next mitzvah are mechaper on a chet, a ma'aseh avera. That's the Ram says, and all of them, not only chatos kavua, but Oshem Toli and Oshem Vadai and Korban Oil V'Yered. He should tzavinu, he should tzivonu, shiakiv kol mi sheshogag b'chet min hachatoim hagedolim hayeduim kol mechatos. And that is a and if you chayv creases where there's an ashora. Pal and Dover shel tzibur, the mechayiv of korban is the hira b'tos of Bezdin HaGodol. Bezdin HaGodol is not violating any avera. And the avera that you need the roiv tzibur to violate an avera. But the averis are called is not the mechayiv of the parel dover shel tzibur, it's a tnai. The mechayiv of parel dover shel tzibur is not the ma'ase aveira, but the eira b'tos. And that's the Ram stresses. Shetol b'eira. And the ma'ase aveira is only tnai. So therefore the Rambam lists the ma'ase chatos is in one category, and the parel dover shel tzibur is a separate mitzvah. That's the Ram says here clearly. The mechayiv is not the ma'ase aveira, and he doesn't mention the ma'ase aveira of the Ab. It's only tonight, and the mechayiv is the eira b'tos. And when it comes to chatos kovua, there he mentions the ma'ase aveira. Mir mitzvah kotze or pote mitzvahs also the same. Shetol v'hoyu shlek alocha. Is sheyakrivu bezdin korban. He doesn't mention what type of korban, what it is. It doesn't say korban chatos. Because then a chatos and a ma'ase aveira. This is a korban for tos and eira. Shingos eira. So the Rambam, therefore, in Perek Aleph of Hilchos Shkogos, when he's mevayer chatos kavua, he writes in Halacha Daled, Abel im shogag biachas mishar aboim ushtayim im hoye hedit maybe silas izim oy nekeva min akvosim v'zo hi chatos shel echod. Me'am ha'oretz hu amur b'parshas vayikra v'im hamelech solis hedit v'im hamelech hu sheshogag biachas mehen maybe siras izim l'chatos v'im koi Moshiach who maybe par ben boko l'chatos v'hu nisraf kmo shemitzpare shom. So it means there are various types or ways of oifanim that you can mikayim, or that's subsumed in the midst of chatos kavua. He doesn't mention parel dover in Perek Aleph, because parel dover is not a mechayiv from a ma'ase aveira. It's a tnai of ma'ase aveira. The mechayiv is the robotos. And it's more foolish in Sefer HaMitzvos that par koi Moshiach is b'chal the mitzvah of chatos kavua. As the Ram says in Shirish Zayin, he writes, Umizeh hamin gam kein, he shiras mitzvah, v'hu she'akosuv bo b'sefer vayikra, shemi sheshogag v'yova mitzvah Hashem, yakiv korbon, v'hi mitzvah say, achas, v'hi she'yakiv hashegeg chatos, ubetnai she'ti ashkogo b'dover shechayov ma'al zdole kores, v'hi boy ma'ase, v'hi mitzvah. You need a loisase, a ma'ase, like Rashi. It tastes it though. That you need a love, according to Rashi and the Rambam. Shebialim mufurish behoyos ubekrisis. Acha kein dikte kakosu betoya ze akom kakosu boiksuvim v'omar im ashegeg me'amoretz yakriv kizbo isiras izim. V'im hoye nosi Yaakov soir. V'im hoye kohen gadol Yaakov par. No mention of Pahel Dovish and See, because it's not. This is a carbon. The carbon of Nasi and Chatas Hedyet and Pakoi Moshiach is a carbon on my Saveir for Chayve Krisis. And here it's only on in Pahel Dovish and Sibo. It's a Neiro. So therefore, you understand yourself. Since it's a carbon on the hero, it's nothing to do with the with Chatas Kovua. It's a whole different world, and it's a separate mitzvah, separate carbon. Okay, so to this point, sounds, wow, it's Galdic. It's so simple. The problem is not so simple because so with Koi Mashiach is mufurish in the Rambam and Shvi that it really comes under the category of the mitzvah of Chatas Kavua. However, Chochem will come in is the Bnei Shalom the same way. The Pahel Dov is a separate mitzvah because you require her robatos. Kohen Moshiach also requires her robatos. So why put Kohen Moshiach under the category of Chatas Yochid? Either say maybe it's one mitzvah with Pahel Dov, the Chatas. The Kohen Mashiach and Pahel Dov maybe should be one mitzvah, but the Ram puts no. The Ram says in Shoshim that the Kohen Mashiach is under the mitzvah of Chatas Kavua. The question why this works and how this works. So we have to know the problem is since you require Horobatos in Par Kohen Mashiach, why does the Rambam both in the Shloshim and the Seder in Mishnah Torah in Perek Aleph that he quotes the Par Kohen Mashiach dealing with Son Nasi and Hedyet? Why does he do that? Why not put it together with Param Dovish and Tzibur? Because the answer is that the Mechayim of Par Kohen Moshiach is the Shigras Aveira. And that which you require Tos in Eiro is only a T'nai. And it's a Hekesh to Pahel Dovo. Therefore, the Rambam quotes the Din Hira that the Mechayiv, here, let's just see. The Rambam with the vault of the Rambam is in Par Kohen Mashiach. The Mechayiv is the Ma'aseh Avera. The Hira is a T'nai. In Pahel Dov, it's just the opposite. The Mechayiv is the Hira B'tos and is a T'nai of a Ma'aseh Avera of the Tzibur, following the Hira of Bez Nagol. Hilchos Shogos. Listen how he does it. Listen to the Lashon Rambam. Perek Tesvav, Halacha Aleph. Kvar bi'alnu shekol shgogo shehedit mevi oleh hachatos hakavua kizbo oy seira im shogag bo. Excuse me. Kol shekol shgogo shehedit mevi oleh hachatos kavua kizbo oy seira kamo. Im shogag, out of the Maisaveira. Im shogag anosi maybe soye kama. Out of the Maisaveira. From all the chayve creases, sheyesh boim lav, that there's a mechayiv of a chatas kavua for hedyet. If it's a nosi, he's chayiv soye nosi. V'im shogag bo koyin Mashiach. Maybe Paul. So all thought that the Machayiv of Paul Koyin Mashiach is the Ma'asavera the same way as Nasi and Hegit. However, there's a Tnai. Pamed vo mamurim that the Paul Koyin, that the Koyin Mashiach is Chayiv of Paul. Kishekoyin Moshiach maybe par al Shiur Gosoi, Kishetol be'roas atzmoi, v'osa Maase b'shgogos harosoi levad. V'hi shiach chocham muflo, he shall be roy lo. Im hakoyin HaMashiach yecheto la'ashmas om, hari Mashiach ketzibo. Ma tzibo shein bezdin el chayovim bekorban ad shiyu chachomim ruim leiro v'yitu beiro v'yasu ho'isim al piem v'yoyu levate mixas l'kayim mixas keach HaMashiach b'chol adrochim u'elu. So you need in both of the B'shigga Yisrael, but in Pakoim Mashiach the B'shigga Yisrael is a tnai. And in Pachem Dovish of Tzibo, that itself is the Mechayil. It's an amazing thing. There's a problem over here. And I just want to mention the problem. I'm not going to get involved in it. The question is, why isn't a Akoim Mashiach bringing Osham Tolui? And because there's a hekesh to Palam Dovish of Tzibor. But it's a very strange thing. You just start a hekesh, and even the Mechayiv is different. Say we have to know. But whatever it is, the whole discussion over here is very clear that the Seder, the Rambam, and Sheri Zion is very clear that Param Dovish of Tzibor is part of Chatas Kavua. Excuse me. Pa Koi Mashiach is part of Chatas Kavua like Soy Nosi, and it's a separate mitzvah, but the Mechayiv is the Irod, not the Ma'asavera of Param Dovish of Tzibor. Okay. Interesting. Rav Sadi going as you expected. Paskins a separate mitzvah. Apakoi Moshiach, Pseinosi, Chattas Hedit, and Palam Dover Shel Tzibur, and he doesn't mention, when he mentions the mitzvah Palam Dover Shel Tzibur, he doesn't talk about the Shigui Seirah. He says, doesn't talk about that they do their Avera. It's very interesting, there's no need for him, for that whole thing to make it a separate mitzvah. Rami needs it, but okay, say that. Next. The Ram also counts Soyer Helam Dovo. If the Bezdin, well, it's Sibor, about Avodah Zarah, the Sir Helam Dovo as a separate mitzvah, as a separate mitzvah from Par Helam Dovo Shel Sibor, which is not Avodah, it's Shah mitzvahs. And according to the Rambam, the whole portion that Sir Helam Dovo and Avodah Zarah is included under the mitzvah of Par Helam Dovo. Okay. Now that we basically, frankly, we discussed the mitzvah of chatos, a large part of it, together with Parel Dovash and Tzibor, and you understand yourself that it was necessary in order to understand why Parel Dovash and Tzibor is a separate mitzvah. Let's do now the mitzvah of chatos kovua. Mitzvah samach tes. Mitzvah atesha v'shishim, he shetzivonu sheyakriv kol mi sheshogag. This is the first mitzvah kilu of Maisa Vera that's Mechayven Oynish. Call me shogag bechet menachatoyim hagedolim hayeduin, which are the chayve krisis. Call mechatos. Hagedolim is chayve krisis. Hayeduin are those peculiar ones that are chayiv kores, that there's a loisase, and not Pesach and Milo, which only mitzvah say. And Megadev is not included because the lav shein boy ma'aseh. V'tumas mikdash kedashim shechayom aleim korban oleviyot. As the Ram says in Ushkogis, Perek Aleph Aloch Aleph Gimel. Next. Paul Misha Shogag. Averis Hagedolim Bechet Menachatoim Hagedolim Hayeduim. Now, this includes, as we know, as we mentioned before, the whole portion, this includes not only a hedyet, but includes Koi Mashiach and Nosi. And this all of them are chayev achatus kamua. And Sire Avodah Zarah, not of Sir Hel Dovo, but of an individual who's an Eved Avodah Zarah. And the Ma'aseh Avera from Avodah Zarah, that comes under the mitzvah of Chatas Kavua. Even though one's a soya and there's a soya for this, a soya nosi and a soya abudizoro and a par, doesn't make a difference. And that shirish nine, it doesn't make a difference. It's all one mitzvah, all under the mitzvah chattas kavur. It's very fun to make kind of the same mitzvah. That's what shirish shvi is all about. What side you going? In Perek Esrim, 26, it has a Shar Maisa Hashkoga. He quotes Parkoi Mashiach, Parsi Nosi, Chatas Hedyet, Syria Vodizor, as mitzvahs nifrodis. Because he's cholik on Shirish Shvi. Next. Wo Omer Yis'ale v'im nefesh achas techeta b'shgogo me'am ha'oretz. The Rambam quotes this posuk as the makor, the posuk which was said by Chatas Hedyet. The problem is this posuk is not a tzivui; it's a description. V'im nefesh achas techato b'shkogo me'am ha'oretz. There's no tzivui over here. It's the beginning of a parsha of Chatas Yochid. The Rambam was only quoting the beginning of the parsha. Its kavanah is not only to Chatas Hedyet, but the whole parsha, including the tzivuyim, and not only Chatas Hedyet, but par Dovich, par Kakoi Mashiach and Siyanosi, and Siyavo Nizor. Now, Ram says, again, he's the bonus Yakriv, Kol mi sheshogag bechet min hachatoim agdolim yeduim chayve krisis, which are chayve lavim. V'om yis'ale b'nefesh achas techete b'shkogo me'am ha'oretz. Not only am ha'oretz, is everyone included also. See, the Ram doesn't quote the first parsha, which is included in the mitzvah, Parkoi Mashiach. He quotes the third parsha, the fourth parsha, which is of Kisbo, of Chatas Hedyet. So it's very odd, but the Ram is quoting the Chatas, which is shaykh to the Roiv Tzibur, and that's the Chatas Hedyet. But all of them are included. Interesting in me in Akotze, listen how he does it. Samach Tes, Lakav Ayoch Kol Chatas im Shogeg. Bמצות תעשה שחייבים עליה קורא שנאמר ונפש כיסחתו בשגגה. He quotes the first posuk in all the series of parshas of Chatas Kavua. Daber bnei Yisrael leimor nefesh kisechta b'shgogo mikol mitzvah Hashem asher lo yisayaseno v'osa me'achas meheno. And that is killing the introduction of the whole parsha, all the parshas, and that is, according to the Rambam Min HaKotzer, That is the mitzvah, which a priori is great, is much better. The only problem is in the middle of these parshas, which have this Haggadah, is Param Dova Shel Sibor, which the Ram says is a separate mitzvah, as we explained. Next. V'zuhi chatos kavua. This carbon nefesh achras teched the b'shgagga b'yam. This is the mitzvah. This is called chatos kavua. So this is a type of carbon which never changes of fi hesegara she'achayte. As the Ram says in Uchshkogis Perek Aleph Halacha Dalet, and it's therefore, since Korban Oil is mishtane, it's a separate mitzvah. That's called Oil V'Yored is mishtane, and Kavua means not mishtane. Next. V'u'amo yis'aleh v'im nefesh achas techet b'shgagga me'amo zui chatos kavua. Klema shehi le'olam chatos behemo, and it doesn't change like Korban Oil V'Yored. Next. Ukvar bi'anu shachatoim she'ishchayiv al shilgosem chatos zo al shilgosem chatos zo heim shechayob mazdon kores. The chiyuv depends upon one simple thing, that you have a chiyuv kores. Ubetnai shiu mitzvos said, that's Ram Shita and Rashi. Now it tastes. Oh, tasting increases, and supposed to taste markets. Via bohem Maase, and that's the taste. Talks about Maase. The question of Maase, voices. Ram talks about both. Koji's boy b'reish krisus, and look at the Ram Pirush Mishnayis there. Perek Aleph Mishnah Beis u'mishvat mitzvazo kuloi kvar yizboye miseches hoyos u'krisus mekomis mishabes u'shvuos lizvokim. So Mitzvah Hashem, the next week, we'll pick up the next mitzvah, mitzvah Ayin. Okay, Matzloch.